In this video, we're going to tighten up our edge loops to hold some of the edges, and we're going to build the cap for our teapot. So I'm going to go in here and just kind of make sure the shape is well adjusted in certain areas. So let's look at the spout, and I'm just going to grab some of these vertices over here and just kind of push them out a little bit just to make sure I'm happy with the shape before I start cutting some more edge loops in. Again, I can see here that there's some intersecting geometry, so I want to just go in and make sure I pull some of these edges out to clean it up a bit. So I can see here in the wireframe that I've got one of the faces in here pushed in, that vertice there, so just bring it down, make it even, pull it out. Just going around checking to make sure that the shape is and the geometry is even and clean. If we're going to 3D print this, we don't want to have any intersecting geometry. So I'm going to insert edge loop and insert a loop here just to tighten that up and tighten that opening, and tighten around here and here. So if we hit 3, we can see we have a much kind of tighter opening there. Do the same thing here with the top of the teapot. I'm going to grab these edges and just kind of scale them in so they're nice and straight. And then I can grab the insert edge loop tool again, insert loop inside around the teapot and then around the 2 edges on the top. So now if I go into 3 mode, we can see we have a much tighter edge here for those edge loops. Okay, that looks good, so I'm going to just kind of adjust some of these vertices here. Again, just pulling them out to kind of shape them. Making sure there's enough room in there for the inner wall. I'm going to go into the inside of the teapot and insert an edge loop in the inner wall here so that we have a nice tighter edge around that inside area. Maybe widen this loop a little bit here. So grab these vertices and just kind of scale them out a little bit. Grab this edge loop here, scale that one out, just make it a little bit wider. So keeping these quads is really good because it's easy just to double click and select the loop around to make a nice kind of selection that you can widen up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to grab these top faces from the side view here. I'm just going to grab the very, very top faces right at the top here. We're going to go up to Edit Mesh and down to the Faces area and to Duplicate. This will make a duplicate of those faces that we've selected. I'm going to select them in Object Mode. Hit Center Pivot and then hit W to move them up. And I'll select this inner edge loop by double clicking it. And hit R, and we'll just scale it right in. To about there, then I'm going to go and extrude. So Edit Mesh, Extrude. Make sure we extrude to the center. So I'm going to bring it in, grab the vertices, and then we'll do a merge to center. So all of those vertices in the center are now merged. Bring this loop in a little bit more. Going to raise this up. Grab this edge loop. Bring it up. This will fit exactly here, so I just want to make sure I'm getting these edges nice and straight. Extrude it down a little bit. Scale it out, because the lid has to fit on top, so it has to be a little bit bigger. So I'm just trying to move these edge loops and get a nice shape here. Make sure I get these vertices from the center. Deselect anything I don't want. Insert another loop. Scale it in. Do another one here. Round it off a little bit. Scale this one out, bring it up. Okay, I'm going to put the teapot on a layer so I can hide it. And I'm going to go up here and do an extrude. So that extruded the whole thing here. So I'm just going to bring it in. This creates the thickness. So I'm going to bring it way in and then bring it down. So it's nice and straight. I'll look at my side view so I can make sure that inner edge at the bottom is lined up. Just selecting the top. Hit delete to get rid of those top faces. Gonna get that edge loop, hit R, bring it all the way in. Select the vertices just inside, and again do a merge to center. That way the inside is closed. Selecting the inside edge loop and the center vertices of the inside and just kind of bringing it down and in. So this would be the inner wall. You may have noticed that the faces in our geometry are dark, and that's because the normals are facing the wrong way. So I'll select the cap in object mode, and we'll go up to mesh display and reverse. That will reverse the normals to face the correct way, and that's really important when we're 3D printing, that all the normals are facing the correct way. Just going to bring my teapot back out here so I can look and make sure that the cover will fit on the teapot precisely where I want it to go. If it can't fit on, then there's no point in actually having it. So I want to make sure that the edge is big enough to kind of fit snug right on the top of the teapot. Just looking at that edge, I'm going to bring it out just a little bit. Let's tighten up the edges of the lid so it'll fit better. So I'm going to insert some edge loops on the outside and along the inside of the lid. This way we'll have a nice tight edge. I'm going to insert up at the top so that this little decorative cap here will hold a little bit better. So we look at it in 3 mode, we can see that it's definitely holding better. Okay, let me see. Alright, I think I have the wrong layer. Let me put on the right layer here and move our cap back to the top of our actual teapot. And let's take a look in here. I'm going to move this up and scale it up just a little bit. Let's take a look in X-ray mode. And let's scale it up. I'm going to make sure that the inner edge of the cap kind of follows along the contour of the top of the teapot. And I'm also going to make sure that it kind of sits on the teapot a little bit better. So let me insert an edge loop inside the inner wall. I'll insert the loop right here to hold that edge a little tighter, and here to hold that edge tighter. I'm going to jump into X-ray mode and select this inner edge here and bring it down. Let's bring it down, make sure we're in one mode. So this way it'll sit right on the top. I'm going to insert an edge loop just to hold that a little bit tighter on both sides. Now view it in 3 modes so we can see that that inside will sit right on the top. Okay, let's close up the bottom vertices. So I'm just going to go into component mode and select the vertices right in the middle. Because remember, we scaled them in, but we didn't close them yet. So with them selected, let's do our merge to center and get the inner wall vertices as well. So select those and hit G. Now we'll go into our smooth preview mode, and then we're going to go up to modify and over to convert smooth mesh preview to polygons. This actually subdivides the mesh twice, so I just hit G to do that to the cap as well. Now with this selected, let's go up to File, Export Selection, and I'd like to export it as an OBJ. You can see it's not listed here, so that means that the plugin isn't loaded. So let's go to Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager. This will open up our plugin manager for Maya. We're going to scroll down until we see OBJ Export. And click Loaded and Auto Load. And then Close. And we'll go up to File, Export Selection. And we'll go all the way down to the bottom and we'll see OBJ Export. And we'll give it a name. Call it Teapot _01. And then hit Export Selection. And now we'll export the cap. So we're going to select the cap, go to File, Export Selection, and we'll give the cap a name. You want to export them as separate pieces so that way when you bring them into the 3D printing setup program, you can position them the way you want them and orient them the way you want. You want to export your pieces separately so you can make sure that you can assemble them once they're done 3D printing. So that's the end of our Teapot video. Thank you for watching.